It seems the fighting will continue. There will be lots of people that will be impacted by this. I speak from the humanitarian perspective. The people that I met, they have no connection to the politics of Addis Ababa or Mekelle or TPLF or the Ethiopian government. So the focus from the beginning, as reflected by the UN and other organizations, has been the impact it's been having on the ground. Many countries, friendly countries to Ethiopia, including the Biden administration, has been calling for some kind of ceasefire. We're hoping we're going to see this ceasefire have an impact on the ground, but it seems this conflict will go on, and again, many people will be impacted. And aid organizations continue to ask for some kind of humanitarian corridor that might not be achieved, but at the end, it's everyday people that will be impacted by any decision that comes from either the Abiy administration or the TPLF government that is in Mekelle at the moment. Again, like everything in Ethiopia, we get all kinds of allegations and facts and numbers, and we can never verify what's been happening unless we have access to this, some of the areas that you mentioned. I was able to travel to only some cities in Tigray, including Mekelle, Aksum, Adwa, and Adigrat and Adi Abi. But the rest of Tigray wasn't even accessible to us or aid organizations. So it's really, really difficult to verify what's been happening on the ground. There's no media that has been having such an access for them to make that determination. So it's speculation once again, but they did lose some. We just have to verify the information. And I have conflicting information. So, I don't know. For the most part, the African Union has been very powerless and has been mute when it comes to this kind of issues within the continent. They've been sending delegation, heads of state, former heads of state, and to speak to the leadership of Ethiopia. The EU has been coming back and forth, including the foreign minister of Finland, who may have misspoken according to the Ethiopian side by saying there is a genocide. But I think countries that are respected traditionally in terms of peace building are perhaps the Swedish, the Norwegians, even Canada. They have a brand that's respected. They have this gift of soft power they can use to try to bridge the gap. Because, again, within the African continent, because we see all this kind of disasters, we have this tendency to mention numbers. 91% of the population are facing food emergency, for example, or millions of people starving, or 500 people having, some kind of disaster. So when people begin to see the faces behind the number, as I have been, as some of us have been to the Tigray region, we begin to understand the impact this is having. I've never been to a society that is desperately in need of leadership and impacted by a conflict that has nothing to do with everyday people than the people I met in the Tigray region. Unless there is an international leadership that is respected by both, especially by the Ethiopian side, this conflict will continue, and it won't just be an Ethiopian matter. It will become a regional matter very soon. There are many Ethiopians that are heading to the Sudan. The Eritreans are involved from the northern countries, and these refugees will soon be heading to Europe. So this is becoming a worldwide international affair, and we should take it seriously. He needed to. There was lots of pressure, for instance, from other international countries, including donors. USAID USAID has spent close to $500 million in the Tigray conflicts, trying to help all these victims. The surprise recapture of Mekelle might have played a role. But again, there is a worldwide understanding of what's happening in Ethiopia. It's in the open. There's social media. There are people, activists that have been debating this and talking about this for since last November. And I mean, I think it was time to listen and also listen to the victims on the ground. Even the Ethiopian Human Rights Commission has been saying it, echoing what Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International has been saying from the get-go. I think there was lots of pressure, not just from donor nations, but from all of us, I guess, because the impact, the faces, they just have to be accounted for. There are too many of them.